Okay, I think we are ready to start. Thank you all so much for coming tonight. Welcome to UIC Gallery 400. Welcome to the exhibition Reckless Rolodex, and to tonight's program, I Heart the Dead, the Followspot by Adam R. That's when you clap. Happy Valentine's Day. This is very distracting because I'm on that screen. I don't like it. We are very happy to be here with you to celebrate all kinds of love. I am Lawrence Steger, director here at Gallery 400, and we are thrilled to share with you tonight Adam R's new performance, I Heart the Dead, the Followspot, which is created on the occasion of this exhibition, Reckless Rolodex, which is an exhibition that highlights the lasting and overlooked influence of the late Chicago-based performance artist Larry Steger. Larry Steger's work explored desire and sexuality until his early death in 1999 due to AIDS-related complications. Hair in my mouth, apologies. Larry, as his friends referred to him, relied on the disciplines of theater and a community of collaborative artists to realize his intricately constructed performances that reflected his deep knowledge of a wide range of sources. Steger's legacy is shared here in the exhibition, primarily through works by contemporary artists responding to or evoking his work and research practice. Firstly, I'd like to invite some access accommodations. Over here are our closed captions, which you can also access on your mobile devices. If you need to see the captions and cannot, please ask someone to trade spots with you. You can access the captions on your mobile device by going to our website, gallery400.uic.edu, and you'll find the link at the bottom of our homepage. We are a large group here tonight, but if you need to move around, feel free to get up and exit and enter the space. And please, if someone near you needs to do that, allow them to do that. I'm very thankful that people who needed chairs found them. If you need another one, just raise your hand and I will get you one. Also, I'll note that there are spaces here where we're going to need to make some space for the performers. So at one point, there'll be a performer walking through this space, and if you could just make space for them and then return to your spot. I just want you to know ahead of time. If that's going to be difficult, maybe trade a space with someone else. Also, before we start, I'd like to acknowledge the relationship to the land we are on here today, the broader city of Chicago, named for the Algonquin name for the river, whose shores are lined by wild leeks, were lined by wild leeks, was and continues to be an indigenous place. Owing to the multiple waterways that converge here, Chicago is the ancestral home of the Three Fires Council, consisting of the Ojibwe, Odawa, and Potawatomi, in addition to Miami, Illinois, Anoka, Ho-Chunk, and Menominee nations. Today, Chicago is the third largest urban Native population in the United States, with more than 65,000 Native Americans in the greater metropolitan area. The American Indian Center in Albany Park, founded in 1953 in the era of relocation, remains the oldest urban Indian center in the country. We hope to not merely acknowledge the land we are upon as a performative gesture, but also invite us to call into relation these lands, histories, and nations. They have not ceased to exist. We also acknowledge the significant work Gallery 400 and UIC have yet to do in honoring these relations and rectifying this colonial presence with other struggles. These Americas are built on violence and erasure, and we bring these histories with us. Those native to this land, indigenous people from other territories, as well as white settlers by conquest, and those of us who have come here by force or otherwise as a result of slavery, colonialism, imperialism, and ongoing wars. When entering any space, we must bring these histories into view, and with this acknowledgement, we meet here today in hopes of a different world making. So before I introduce the event tonight, I just want to say a couple words about some upcoming exhibition programs that are related to Rexlix Rolodex. We've got a great slate of programs which include a fashion show by Sky Kubakub of Rebirth Garments, which is on March 2nd. On March 7th, we'll have a panel discussion with the curators and artists featured in the show. And finally, on March 16th, we'll be joined by the artist Greg Bordowitz, HIV specialist Dan Berger, and UIC professor and writer Jennifer Breyer for a conversation on the history of HIV/AIDS, health maintenance, and our cultural perceptions of the disease today. You can go to our website for more details. So tonight, on this beautiful stage designed by artist Edie Fake, Adam R. presents a mixed reality love poem for Lawrence Steger, drawing upon his performance cover of an Alice Cooper song in 1997. Judd Morrissey and Mark Jeffrey, formerly of Goat Island Performance Group, co-founded Chicago-based Adam R. Anatomical Theater of Mixed Reality in 2012. Adam R. is a provisional collective exploring forensics, anatomy, and 21st century embodiment through performance, language, and emerging technologies. Currently, Adam R. describes a shifting constellation of new and ongoing projects created by Judd Morrissey, Mark Jeffrey, and Aviva Avnissen. The body of work is interdisciplinary and evolves through large-scale, slowly germinating projects with output spanning internet art, augmented reality, site-specific installation, choreographed movement, books, films, and objects. Adam R. have been developing and rehearsing this piece here in the gallery for the last 2 weeks, and I tell you, you are in for a treat because we've been experiencing it every day. While making the work, they have spent time with the materials in the show. They have met and conversed with Lawrence Steger's family and friends, and all the while felt Steger's presence here in the room as they built this tribute work. Please welcome Adam R. and I Heart the Dead, the Followspot.
Thank you, Lorelei. Happy Valentine's, everyone. If we bore you, you can just make out with the person next to you. It's okay, but keep your masks on. Trust us. We've done something like this before. And remember that I will always love you. Mr. Steger is survived by both parents and 9 brothers and sisters. There will be a memorial service at 1 p.m. March 7th at the Hot House at 31 East Balbo Avenue. Or perhaps I would play him a recording of Another World by Anthony and the Johnsons. But know that I have written this chapter. Such mournful gestures strike me as the gifts of Narcissus, benefiting the survivor. Let me start again. If I could travel through time and space to that moment described as in the sitting room, she served us a tray of lukewarm, orange-like drink, I would deliver to Lawrence a glass of water, the glass of water that I sipped as I sat across the table from Paul, Larry's brother. I would bring a second glass for Thick Rita. What then would have been the future?
In our last interview, you mentioned that you were privately or publicly concerned about the safety of the water, whether it was, so to speak, clean. Which leads me to remember a question. Are you clean? I hope you don't mind me revisiting this query, but it has been one so ubiquitous amongst those in the window who presumed to know their status as a period. The claim, DDF, the imperative, you be too. What do you think about these encodings?
to suck the cock of the rising sun, to see through all my be patient. Something is coming, and you're going to start to cry. I bless the day I found you. I want to stay around you. And so I beg you, let it be me. Don't take this heaven from one. If you should cling to someone, now and forever, let it be me. Each time we meet, love, I find complete love. Without your sweet love, what would life be? So never leave me lonely. Tell me you love me only, and that you'll always let it be me. Each time we meet, love, I find complete love. Without your sweet love, what would life be? So never leave me lonely. Tell me you love me only, and that you'll always let it be me. show them how you turn your body into an anchor and throw yourself backwards into the sea. When I die, Lord, bury me deep. Freight train, running so fast. Please don't say what train I'm on, and they won't know what route I'm gone. When I'm dead and in my grave, no more good times here I'll crave. Lay the stones at my head and feet and tell them all I've gone to sleep. When I die, Lord, bury me deep, way down on old Chestnut Street, where I can hear old number 9 as she goes rolling by. When I die, Lord, bury me deep, way down on old Chestnut Street, where I can hear old number 9 as she goes rolling by. If that's Larry, say hello. Lawrence, sir, you were never buried deep in me, treasure though you are, nor I in you. Only now in this trans-historical crush of space, it seems that we might nearly cross into one another by estimating with reasonable accuracy the sequence of our follow-spots, a pattern in which we are always ahead or a behind and never appear simultaneously in the glorious simplicity of adjacent black boxes, but are both still shaken by the same rumbling, the same unignorable red swelling of an interrupting line.
I hope that was an empty bottle, George. You can't afford to waste good liquor. Not on your salary, not on an associate professor's salary. Tell it like it is, Martha, Plimpton. By the time I am reading this, George, empty of liquor, is ghosting me again. And the whole point is to be ghosting ourselves, or at least gossiping about them from the presumed locations of our so-called resting places. Is it the function of George and Martha to point to the violence and appetite of an origin? When I die, Lord, bury me deep, way down on old Friendship Street. Case in point, when I first heard the song Freight Train by Elizabeth Cotten, I, mordantly and impishly, revised the word chestnut to friendship in my private recitations, Friendship being the actual name of the street where I carried my cross in the late 90s, only to find a few years later that the song was already perfectly addressed, only tactfully premature, and even more so than I apprehended at the time, as the original lyric circles back again this evening, spreading as its seed, becoming an older chestnut. Such is the temporality of our haunts. I have been learning not to brute force the meaning of intercepted noises into my own present-day affliction of names and places, but to wait for the character to one evening step out as the curtain exposing itself, installed as a more intact listening and seemingly unimpressed. If you wait long enough, even sex changes. Katharine Hepburn not only always wore pants in a move that concerned many women at the time, she arguably self-identified as an oak tree. I've waited in doldrums and tempests long enough to learn how to clearly misread what comes down my line. If I knew you weren't coming, I'd have baked a cake. This line is clearly ceremonial, bent in its fashionable italics like a daisy chain of sailors filleting the equator. But because it is localized in the geophysical, it can be straddled and even crossed by the three of us having lived down and across from one another in proximity of space and to some degree time on Chestnut Street in Chicago, where in this romantically expanded crude physics scenario, we might stage a ritual transformation from polywog to polycule, adorned in glamorous shells, with tonal excesses of vampirism and decapitation, at the end of which 600 elaborate costumes are extravagantly burned into another existence. Cadaverize. That's cadaver with a Z. Oh, how the dead did enter us, resting into our bodies with the will and permission to be put to better rest. But this vague phantasm in which we circle one another, one hand on the capstan, the other gripping the rope used to strike the back of the body in front of us with increasingly violent strokes, as intended by the crowned apparition of our ceremonies. This loop, this phantasm, is not the end of the line. The line, if you were following me, the line that starts at number 1320 Chestnut Street and goes west to your apartment, 1347 Chestnut Street, that is listening out with its tin ceiling walls at the House of Crosses opposite in its queer Catholic way. But the line continues west to Winchester Street, where we meet the Polonia Dairy Company, where Mark and I once lived, and where we heard you once performed. Yes? No? Yes? No? I'll take that as a yes.
Yes.
Listening upon the House of Crosses, 1544 Chestnut Street, opposite you, in your queer Catholic way. And this not quite straight line continues to move west. Its terminus is a milk house, the former Polonia Dairy Company on Winchester Street, where Mark and I once lived, and we believed you, who I never met, performed. Yes, no. So let's say our localized world lines all run east-west, and that they are crossed to form an imperfect cross by a north-south segment beginning at the House of Crosses, 1544. And let's say that these commemorative crosses, having been removed, bear the names within our shared Rolodex. Katharine Hepburn, Mickey Rooney, Sandra Bernhardt, is she here tonight? Elizabeth Taylor, King Arthur, King Neptune, Prince Titus, Gilles de Rais, Marat, and Sade. On a wooden cross, I place a word, and the word is resolute, as in a determined loosening. Look it up. This word, care of Spencer Tracy, appearing boldly in all caps on the vessel that is carrying a little Mickey Rooney, long before he is briefly immortalized as one of the 4 steps to the cross house's guarded door. Resolute. This word signaling determination through a persistence of loosening. Suspended for the occasion and glittering beyond its own nearly paradoxical tension, unknotting itself into becoming the reconstruction of a ship that is never the same as itself, but proudly bears its dead name. This ship of friends in which we are captains, courageous, corpin, that's a verb, no bow daddies of the line.
I never even knew you
Can you hear me? This is Catherine Hepburn. I was given an Oscar for that last performance, and I always felt the award was really for the both of us. Through the years, I've tried to capture the essence of Larry. He had a wonderful head, but he was a wonderful man to know. He didn't like to rehearse. He certainly didn't like...
This is Katharine Hepburn, everybody. Please, she's here in the room.
...to talk about his problems. One night, not so long ago, I took a walk along Chestnut Street and sat on the stoop of Larry's home, 1547, opposite the House of the Crosses. And I found myself writing him a letter, and I've got that letter here. I'd like to read it to you. Larry, whoever thought that I'd be writing you a letter? You died on February 5th, 1999. My golly, Larry, now it's 24 years ago. That's a long time. Are you happy, finally? Is it a nice long rest you're having, making up for all your tossing and turning in life? You know I never believed you when you said you couldn't get to sleep, right? Oh, come on. You sleep. If you didn't sleep, you'd be dead. You'd be so worn out. Then, remember that night when, well, I don't know. You felt so disturbed, and I said, we'll go on in and go to bed. And I'll lie on the floor and I'll talk to you till you get to sleep. I'll just talk, and you'll be so bored you're bound to drip off. Well, I went in and I got me a pillow. Lobo the dog and I lay there watching you stroking old dog. I was talking about you and the performance we'd just finished. I love the dead. And my studio, and your new Ludwig swan costume, and the house of crosses opposite your house, and all the nice sleep-making topics and cooking and dull gossip. But you've never stopped tossing the right to the left, shove the pillows, pull the covers on and on. Finally, and really finally, just then you quieted down. I waited a while. And then I crept out. You told me the truth, didn't you, Larry? You really could not sleep, and I used to wonder then, why, Larry? I still wonder. You took the pills, they were quite strong. I suppose to say the otherwise, you would have slept at all. Living wasn't easy, was it? What did you like to do? You loved sailing, especially in stormy weather. You loved singing. And then, well, Kathy Acker died. Tennis, golf, swimming, no, not really. You did like, though, to suck the cock of the rising sun, and swimming, well, you didn't like cold water. Walking, no, you didn't like that much. These things when you could think at the same time. I was one of those things where we can think at the same time. I'm getting confused. What, Larry? What was it? Larry, what was it? Was it some specific life thing? Like being a Catholic and you felt a bad Catholic? No comfort. I remember the father and nuns telling you concentrated on all the bad and not the good, which your religion offered. Must have been something very fundamental, very, very present, and the incredible fact you really were the greatest performance artist. I say this because I believe it. I heard so many people have standing in our business say it, from Rachel Rosenthal, Michael Myers, Barbara Crane, John Curtich, Craig Owens, Lynn Blumenthal, and Tom Jarimba. You name it, you could do it, and you could do it with glorious simplicity, that directness. You could just do it. You could be someone else. You're a killer nun, a heavenly father, Gilles de Rais, a sailor, a swan, and Ludwig II. You were in it in the moment. You hardly had to study. You learned the lines in an instant. What? You could be somebody else for a while. You weren't you. It was safe. You loved to laugh, didn't you? You never missed those individual comics, Lenny Bruce, Jean Genet, Bob Fosse, Mickey Rooney, dear little Mickey Rooney, Judy Garland, Doris Day, Rudolph Valentino, Zorro, Tarzan, Tyrone Powell, Jane Byrne, the band Chicago, and your favorite, Alligator Love. Funny stories, you could tell them, and brilliantly you could laugh at yourself. You enjoyed very, very much the friendship and admiration of people like Susie Silver, Shelley Fleming, Ron Athey, Iris Moore, Joan Dickinson, Peter Taub, Mary Broga, Matthew Owens, Maggie Goddard, Lynn Hickson, Matthew Goolish, and Douglas Grew. You were fun with them. You had fun with them. You felt safe with them. But then, acts, lives, trials, oh hell, take a drink. No, yes, well maybe. Then stop taking the drink. never safe until you were 7 feet under the ground. But why the escape hatch? Why was it always open to get away from the remarkable view? Was it, Larry? What was it? I was making topics and could.
Lawrence, sir.
I love the dead before they're cool.
I'm up again early for the midday dawn, to suck the cock of the rising sun, to see through my instrument the invisible red thread. O Nobo Daddy of the line, I am gagging on salt water in my eye as an interruption comes rolling by, and it must have rocked the monologues of our upper and our lower links, so that we still might have met in between our hooks, both hung and hanged, in that our necks penetrate their curtain bloom, and time's rolling index pans us in advance, as a reckless ventriloquy of names dropped to overturn the board, where invisible arcs meet as a crossing upon the girthiest cut of our planetary body.
Before they're cool, the bluing flesh for me to hold, cadaver eyes upon me see nothing. I love the dead before they rise. No farewells, no goodbyes. I never even knew your now rotting face. while friends and lovers mourn your silly grave. I have other uses for you, darling. La 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 la.
By studying the path of the starfish and the moonfish, our astronomer has determined our beloved subject. With your good ship are going to cross the equator, and with your crew of a number of unbaptized and unclean persons. I haven't authorized you, Neptune, to examine, treat, and baptize all their named in the rotary, and to receive them into your order, so that the police force is not given any unnecessary trouble. It's funny that way. You can get used to the tears and the pain. What a child will believe? You never loved me. You can hurt me now. I got away from you. I never thought I would. You can make me cry. You once had the power. I never felt so good about myself. Seems like yesterday I laid down next to your boots and I prayed for your anger to end. Oh, Father, I have sinned. You can hurt me now. I got away from you. I never thought I would. You can make me cry. Once had the power. I never felt so good. Maybe someday, when I look back, I'll be able to say, you didn't mean to be cruel. Somebody hurt you too. You can hurt me now. I got away from you. I never thought I would. You can make me cry. Once had the power. I never felt so good about myself. When I look back on the angels you saved, you didn't mean to be cruel. Somebody hurt you too. You can hurt me now. I got away from you. I never thought I would. You can make me cry. You once had the power. I never felt so good about myself. Performing is really hard. It's been 3 years. You know? For your anger to end, oh Father, I have sinned. You can hurt me now. I never thought I would. You can make me cry. You once had a power. I never felt so good. Seems like yesterday I laid down next to your boots and I prayed for your anger to end. Oh, Father, I have sinned. Are you ready, Barbara? Remember, she talks with a lisp. The view. Okay.
Let's see that again, the sprint under interval.
I can't hear you.
Oh,
Speak up.
my mic might have gone off. The greatest legend, Katharine Hepburn.
Do you want to be mic'd? Here you go, Barbara.
The greatest legend, Katharine Hepburn, as Larry Steger, has passed away. Although she said she detested interviews, we spoke 4 times. During our last interview, 24 years ago, we discussed issues that concern me and many other women. I asked them if they thought a working queer man could also have a successful marriage.
If I were a man, I would not marry a man with a career. I wouldn't be that big of a fool. I'd want them to be interested in me, not the career. And a career is fascinating.
So, do you feel like you have to make a choice?
I think you bloody well better make a choice. See, I'm trying. Katharine Hepburn, look her up. Well, I put on pants 50 years ago. And I was declared a sort of middle road, you know. But I mean, I've not lived as a man. I've lived as a faggot. Ooh, is that bit cancel? Okay. I've lived as a faggot. A queer man. What I've just done, but I damn well wanted to when I made enough money to support myself. And I ain't afraid of being alone.
Is that why you also wear pants?
I just wear pants because they make me feel comfortable.
Do you ever wear skirts, by the way?
I have one.
You have one.
I will wear it to your funeral.
You'll wear it to my funeral. Thank you, my dear. I would be delighted. I'm delighted you would be coming.
It would be good to know the date.
I will tell my friends.
By the way, at my funeral, or perhaps in my obituary, oh, no, that's not me, that's your line.
By the way, at my funeral, or perhaps in my obituary, it made mention that I once asked the great Katharine Hepburn as Lawrence Steger what kind of a tree she wanted to be. Well, That's not exactly what happened.
I'm a very strong, become a sort of, thing.
A what?
I don't know, someone's tree or something.
Let's see that again. You'll see, I didn't ask her. She brought it up. What was I to do? What kind of a tree are you? Do you think like a tree? What kind of a tree are you? Do you think like a tree?
I don't know. Everyone would like to be an oak tree. That's very strong and very pretty.
Light meets itself in the middle of our age. We are split along the keel, a meridian between our legs. Waves trough themselves at the midline of penmanship, and the W in rest wafts away from our fingertips. Playing doctor again, we are becoming alien, coding the flags of our conditions, and the double of our rest, it seems to coalesce in this unrising.
Nothing. I love the dead before their eyes. No farewells, no goodbyes. I never even knew your now rotting face. While friends and lovers mourn your silly grave, I have other uses for you, darling.
I haven't got my dressing gown, Jack, but okay. Thank you all. And the video you just saw was of Lawrence, of Larry, performing as well with a very dear person who's in the room as well tonight, Mr. Douglas Grew. So thank you. And, you know, I will stop, but Larry was the first person that I met when I first came to Chicago on September 4th, 1996, where Matthew Gulish and Brian Sainer, who's here as well, Brian. Hello. Hey. Yeah. Matthew and Brian took me to Bites, which unfortunately no longer exists, and had the pleasure of meeting Larry, and then over the years got to meet and friends with Douglas. And again, it's so great that this exhibition has happened over these past month as well as, so again, just a very quick thank you to Matthew Gulish, to Lynn. Matthew Gulish, Lynn Hickson, who hopefully is watching online. Lynn. And Caroline Picard. Caroline, are you here? Okay, all right. Sorry, you know, well, there's a few quick things, but first of all, we've just been, or we are still in a pandemic. And to have this acknowledgement and knowledge of being able to show Larry's work is so incredibly touching, and knowing that Larry touched many people's lives, not just here in Chicago, and also just knowing the legacy of all of these different run spaces like Lower Links, Randolph Street, but Larry was known globally. When Larry passed, and I wish now that I'd got this information, but there was a forum for British live artists who basically commemorated him it was an extraordinary forum. It was like the old days when email used to be sexy, right? But anyway, Larry is and was an absolute force, and again, we're grateful to Laurie Lai and Denny here at Gallery 400. We are grateful to Paul Dickinson. Is Paul still here? Or is he falling?
He had to leave.
Anyway, Paul has done the fabulous setup with the sound. And then we have this incredible Nemix and Charlie from Lumpen TV tonight. So if you missed it, or if you want to see it again, or if you're like, get me the fuck out of here, it's on Lumpen TV as well. So that's a fabulous resource out of Co-Prosperity Space down in Bridgeport. I think, is there anybody else to thank? Oh, did I thank Nick Wiley?
No.
Nick Wiley, because we were able to do a residency at the CoPro in Catskill, which is a fabulous space. We were able to do a residency there. So I hope that you all have a wonderful, adventurous evening where maybe you, I don't know, do things. You know, like cooking, right? Maybe. Well, I mean, anyway, you can eat out, maybe, as well. I'm sorry. I know I'm going to get canceled, but it's okay. It's important to be. Actually, the other thing that's, sorry, and then I will shut up, but we live in a very fucked up time. And it was fucked up when Larry was alive, but I think it's even more fucked up now. And I think that we've got to keep fighting. And Larry was a raw motherfucker, right, Peter? Peter, do you think, was Larry a raw motherfucker? Absolutely. Peter Taub here, everybody, who curated Larry, many a show. And actually, Peter produced the last work, right? With Douglas at the MCA back in, and there's some stuff back there. Anyway, I'm sorry, God. Lorelei was like, you want to say just one word? And Jed was like, sorry, you're all, just go, like, put your tongues in each other, or whatever you want to do. Thank you all. Thank you, Lorelei. Oh, shit. Thank you, Tina. Tina, the captioner. Woo! Go make babies, or just don't make babies.